With a woo-wah, our protagonist Hayato jolts awake from his recurring nightmare. It's the same haunting dream that's been plaguing him for days now, where he finds himself slowly drowning in water while surrounded by a couple of girls. To regain his composure, Hayato turns his attention to the family photo next to his bed and greets his parents good morning. He can't help but wonder when they'll return. It's been an awful long time since they left to get some milk. Despite being a high school student, Hayato has learned to take care of himself. He even has a few friends at school, you know. In fact, he even received an invitation to a Halloween party happening the following day, which he's really excited about. He hasn't picked out his costume, though. Perhaps he'll dress in his dad's clothes and pretend he's still alive. Later in the evening, Hayato meets up with his friends Sauta and Kaito. Hayato arrives fashionably late because, unlike his buddies, he couldn't get a ride from his parents. Anyways, the trio go shopping for costumes for their upcoming party. Turns out it's not really a party because it's just going to be the three of them hanging out. Still, the boys hold on to the hope that maybe some girls will come over and they can make it a real party. Kaito starts drooling at the thought of having the Shinju sisters come over to their party, the most popular girls in school. His mention of the girls triggers Hayato, reminding him of his recurring nightmare. Come to think of it, the girls in his nightmare bear an uncanny resemblance to the Shinju sisters. Hayato's thoughts are interrupted by Kaito, who asks him if he can invite the girls over, given that they're neighbors and all. But no, Hayato claims they're too popular, and rumor says no one's ever succeeded in securing a single date with either of them. Alas, the boys quickly give up on the idea, and they part ways for the night, promising to see each other again the next day, a promise of return that Hayato's parents never fulfilled. Anyways, on his way back home, Hayato thinks about the rumor he's heard about the Shinju sisters. It appears that obtaining milk is an elusive task in Japan, as their father also embarked on a quest for milk years ago and never returned. Upon arriving home, Hayato notices his next-door neighbor's door left wide open. He realizes it's the Shinju sisters' home, so with the pure intention of an innocent baby lamb, Hayato kindly decides to close the door on their behalf. But wait, there are black lines coming out of the door, forming some cryptic Japanese characters. I can't read Japanese, but it sure looks bad, so Hayato enters the door out of motherly concern. Upon entering, he hears a menacing voice from upstairs, a voice that sounds like it's coming out of the vocal cord of a fat, bald-headed man. And oh my god, his intuitions were right. There's a fat, bald-headed man pretending to be the Shinju sisters' father. Hayato considers calling the police, but there's not enough time. The man must be apprehended immediately in order to save those fatherless girls. So at this point you must be wondering, how did this happen? Does Shinju mean huge melons in Japanese? How did the sisters even stand upright with those juggernauts and not have spinal issues? Well, let me explain. The sisters went out for some fun earlier that day. Upon returning home, they noticed that the entrance door was left wide open, to about the width of a fat, bald-headed man. Thinking nothing much of it, the sisters entered their home to find indeed a fat man, with a bald head shinier than the knife he's holding. The man demanded that they surrender their phones and remove their outerwear. As the sisters reluctantly complied, that's when Hayato entered the stage. Hayato quietly rummages through his shopping bag, searching for the pumpkin disguise he bought for the Halloween party with his friends. As he dons the pumpkin head, he silently asks for his parents to lend him strength. But of course, his parents can't hear him because they're dead. Anyways, while the fat man is doing bald-headed things, a bouncing baseball comes out of nowhere and steals his attention. Just as the man looks towards the ball, Hayato makes a grand entrance and screams, "Halloween has arrived a day early, you dirtbag!" Bewildered and in pain, the fat man asks who he is. But the mysterious pumpkin-headed man spares no insight into his identity. Instead, he delivers a swift strike to the man's chin, knocking him backward. The girls rejoice at the arrival of their heroic pumpkin-headed savior, and the blaring Japanese sirens of whoop whoop and wee oo signal the police's arrival. And for some reason, Hayato conveniently has a rope, which he uses to quickly bind the fat man. One of the sisters puts on her detective hat and employs her keen investigative skills. Carefully, she inquires if the Pumpkin Man has come to perhaps help them. It's at this moment that Hayato realizes that all the nutrients she's consumed must have gone towards growing and sustaining her melon farm. Alas, with a pitiful look on his face, Hayato urges the girls to hurry and cover up before their produce gets this video demonetized. He provides them with a white blanket of censorship, a thoughtful gesture that evokes the memories of their missing daddy. Suddenly, the door bursts open, and suspicion immediately falls upon Hayato as a possible suspect. The sisters jump to his defense, urging the officers not to touch their daddy. For identification purposes, Hayato is asked to remove his disguise. However, he insists on doing so outside, not wanting to reveal his identity in front of the girls. And so, Hayato is taken to the police station for questioning, and the girls lose their daddy for the second time. At the station, the police officer scolds Hayato for his reckless behavior. Hayato apologizes for saving 3 people's lives and vows to never help when someone is in danger again. Convinced by his sincerity, the officer lets Hayato off with a stern warning not to act like a fatherless kid, running around pretending to be a pumpkin and shit. Meanwhile, back at the Shinju sisters' home, the girls remain shook from the recent incident. After multiple times of making sure their front door is securely locked, they finally decide to go to bed. Arisa, the younger one, shyly asks her older sister Aina if she can sleep in her bedroom for one night. Aina agrees, because it's absolutely crucial for the manga's plot. Lying right next to each other, they share how indecent and frightening the incident was. But oh my god, isn't Pumpkin Man awesome? The sisters get even closer as they think about how heroic Pumpkin Man was. They can't wait to thank him. They're gonna thank him so good, like he's never been thanked before in his life. They're gonna f***ing thank him all night. The next day, Hayato walks to school with his buddies, pretending to be oblivious about the previous day's incident. Just then, the Shinju sisters appear beside them, greeting Hayato before continuing on their way. His friends immediately put him in a chokehold, demanding an explanation as to when and how he got so close to them. But Hayato brushes it off, claiming they're just his neighbors greeting him out of courtesy. While that explanation convinces his buddies, we know what's really going on. He's about to be thanked, all right? Once they get to class, Hayato discovers that the news of Pumpkin Man has already become viral all over Japan. He even overhears Aina talking to one of her classmates, trying to evangelize her friend on the good news of Pumpkin Man. The curious friend asks Aina if she knows about the Pumpkin Man's identity. In response, Aina claims she doesn't know his name or what he even looks like. Watching from a distance, Hayato breathes a sigh of relief that she hasn't found out about his identity. Hayato's thoughts then drift into the restricted section of Hogwarts' library, so his friend quickly intervenes and takes him to the cafeteria. In the cafeteria, Hayato's friends discuss how rapidly the rumors about Pumpkin Man have spread and speculate about his identity. In an attempt to divert attention, Hayato dislocates his jaw. Just then, both the Shinju sisters unexpectedly appear out of nowhere and sit right next to them at the table. An awkward silence hangs in the air for a moment. Then, Aina leans right into Hayato's face, staring at him with her glittery daddy-issue eyes. Afterwards, she casually resumes eating. Hayato attempts to remain composed, dismissing her behavior as mere coincidence. But then the girls bring up a conversation about Pumpkin Man and how they can't wait to thank him. They're gonna thank him so hard he's going to traverse the shadow realm and see a glimpse of Jesus from being thanked. All right? Their gratitude overwhelms Hayato, making him cross-eyed. The pressure gets to him, so he dashes off without an explanation, and his friends quickly follow suit. Upon their departure, one of the boys at school makes a dramatic entrance, requesting a private moment with Arisa. It's clear he's about to make a confession, and the girls aren't surprised at all, given that it's become a regular occurrence for them at this point. So Arisa excuses herself to the school rooftop with the boy, a magical place where all things unfold in manga. Swiftly, Hayato excuses himself from his friends with the need to poo and chases after Arisa with the pretense of being worried. He sneaks a peek through the crack in the door and, as expected, the boy makes a confession and asks Arisa out. She apologizes to the boy, informing him that her heart already belongs to someone else. Shocked, the boy too becomes cross-eyed. As for Hayato, he wonders out loud if Arisa really meant what she said, or if it's just a convenient way for her to reject people. His speculation is confirmed by a mysterious voice behind him. Hayato looks back in surprise, but is quickly shushed by Aina, telling him to be a good boy and keep his voice down. Quietly, Hayato asks if the rumors are true, that her sister despises all men. Aina reveals that it's true, with the exception of one man who's stolen her heart like a G. Then she inquires what Hayato is up to. He gets embarrassed and claims he was there simply to look out for Arisa, given all that's happened recently. In response, Aina remarks that he is kind-hearted, guilt-tripping Hayato into admitting he was actually just peeping. Suddenly, the voice outside escalates. The boy continues to confess his feelings, claiming he wants to protect her, and then he reveals he's got something to give to Arisa, which makes both Hayato and Aina curious. But the crack is too narrow for both of them to observe what's happening, so Aina tells Hayato to scooch down. He does, thinking she wants to look above his head, but Aina does something unexpected. The surprise makes Hayato cross-eyed again. After his brief seizure, Hayato shudders while wondering about the source of the sudden rigidness and curvature on his lower back. Finally, the quiet and tense suspense is broken by Aina, who leans in and whispers in Hayato's ear for him to prepare himself, as she's about to express some gratitude, like he's never been gratified before. All right,